Welcome everyone to the Blockchain Hustler Show by Blockster.com. Today we have the pleasure of speaking with the minds behind the groundbreaking new platform set to redefine our relationship with media, Popology Networks. So please join me for a brief introduction. We have Joe Ray, the founder and chief creative officer, and Oliver, the chief operating officer and chief marketing officer. Quick background on our speakers today. Joe has worked with corporations and artists such as Chrysler, the Backstreet Boys, Dr. Pepper, and has honed his technical skills with some of the best directors in business as Hype Williams, Bob Giraldi, and Joseph Kahn, and his production designs have been honored at the permanent collection of the Museum of Modern Art. Joe since created a science we'll discuss today called Popology. Oliver is a two-time Emmy award-winning creative leader known for his visionary approach to storytelling and innovation. He's produced campaigns for Apple, Google, Uber Eats, Frito-Lay, Airbnb, overseeing teams from boutique startups to 200-plus person operations and aligning technology with human storytelling. Beginning his career along the propaganda films with David Fincher, Oliver gained a unique insight, all-encompassing understanding of the advertising ecosystem that he now brings to Popology. So very excited to have you both here today. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedules. Welcome, Joe and Oliver. And just to start off...
Thank you, Addie. It's great to be here.
Awesome. Just to start off, can you give us the simple elevator pitch for Popology Networks? What is the problem that you're solving?
Well, the elevators to prepare for a wild ride. The elevator pitch is to really measure the true metric of popular by the people, and then create sovereignty and ownership and trust again in the internet and the media landscape at large by the masses. And we do that through what we call an internet POPcast network that allows, it's a curation station for anybody to curate from their trusted socials and search engines, brought together to a meta search engine of video assets, search for anything across the internet, ledger it to the blockchain, and publish it as a new network similar to that of an NBC in your pocket or a BBC in your pocket, but you are the program director and you pick the brands that you adore in your sponsorship. So it's a network powering sovereignty.
Fascinating. And even the name itself, Popology, I haven't heard of anything like that before. It's incredibly unique. Can you dive in more on what it means and how you guys came up with it?
Well, again, in my experience of working with the best creative directors, the best brands, the best artists, me personally, I'm a sponge working for these incredible creative industries and institutions who taught me that my voice matters, believe it or not. The very brands we sometimes complain about, these brands taught me, these institutions, that my voice matters, that my popular matters. And so the concept of this wanting to invent and love this industry and give back to it, I call it my Jerry Maguire moment, was to create the science of popular. And that's a very vast topic. So this is where the technology was bred out of, and bombardment of my creative peers. So there's where Oliver steps in.
Yeah, I mean, I think, for me, popular is really, it's a word that is singular with Popology in that it's about defining what's popular to you in your world. And so we present a platform that allows content creators to actually own their popular in their world. They can tell their story authentically. There's no algorithm, so we're not literally like we don't have to we can choose our own, or they can choose their own brands that they like. And again, that just gives a little bit more authenticity of who these content creators are.
That's,
So, and can I add one more thing to that,
of course, go right ahead.
Addie? So, in the impetus of the name, the science of popular, many people don't really consider the singularity of popular versus the plurality of popular. Do you know what I mean by that? Right?
Uh,
It's this is the, believe it or not, this is the eureka of the popology observation, if you will, in the science conversation. That the word popular not only is related to metrics, i.e., science and math, like there's more than one that you're doing calculation on, but it also relates to belief system, the singular, the one. I love the color blue. That's a belief system, could even be considered religion. So popular is the only word that means religion and science combined. And that's where popology creates the opportunity for your belief to become counted. And more importantly, objective truth to the self and the masses to count on a public trust ledger to do the math. I know I said a lot there to unpack, but you know,
wow. Truly
popular is a
fascinating.
wild horse. And yeah.
Truly fascinating. And your background is fascinating itself. You've worked with all kinds of music legends like the Backstreet Boys, to working with the Museum of Modern Art. You were at the heart of popular culture as it's known best, right? What did you witness in the entertainment industry that made you feel like the solution of popology was necessary?
Exposure,
Mm.
that how great it is, that you know, that when you see creative minds work together and you hear agency creatives, even with the rhetoric that goes on, they're trying to come up, even there's always about the attention economy to appeal to people, right? But there is a care that goes into it, and there is a very uh, almost militant regiment in life of production to keep us on point and to respond to each other on set and on, and I love that lifestyle. And if we could turn this way of life, which is happening anyhow with the influencer markets and the social media at large, everyone knows how to make videos now. We can turn the ideations of what comes into what makes this system work more broad and accepted. And that's what I see as awesome, is that the, you know, the silver lining of Hollywood is popology.
Also, to me, to piggyback on that, I think back in the day, we'll say, brands have always tried to get the attention of their consumers, and yeah, they do a lot of target marketing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. However, pop culture is defined by a certain culture of people, and popology allows you to define what that pop culture is today. Although, like again, when Joe and I were working together, we were dealing with people like Madonna, who was really defining a marketing a genius in the way that she marketed herself, and she became a pop icon. So did Britney Spears and all of the music people that we kind of worked with. So I think that was really exciting, and it's why it's so exciting to be on a platform like Popology that allows everybody to truly be and define what is pop culture today.
Incredible. And this story of popology goes back to 2001, if I understand correctly, Joe, right after the events of 9/11. You even gave up a thriving career to pursue this. Can you take us back to that moment? What was the catalyst that made you pivot dramatically and dedicate the last 2 decades to developing this science?
Well, 2 weeks before 9/11, I guess you could say I had my Jerry Maguire moment. What's my purpose in this industry? I watched so many great directors, Marcus and Hype, and they carried such vision. And as a production designer, I'm like, I'm getting their info, right? But I'm like, when am I going to have my vision? That what that thing is, and I'm like, what is that story? Um, and so I searched for that, and I've always wanted to be an inventor. And I was in a little bit of I was in a slump with a relationship, and not in a high point in my life, even though work was great. And so I just started writing in my journal create a production to inspire global inner peace, focus on the holy wars, and prove peace is possible with the global skirmish everyone knows about for decades, thousands of years. Started thinking I can contribute to this and call it popology and enlist popologists. So I write this and the person I was with, they crumpled it up. You're full of baloney. And then 2 weeks later, 9/11 happened. And I lived in New York at the time. And at the end of the day, what we had was boy, I have to say a messiah complex grew out of that I had to wrestle with, which is, what is this writing telling me? What is this? This is too big. I can't ignore this. Popology, even back in 2001, no such thing. So the long story here, to turn it into a compressed, is that I passionately worked on myself to understand what this really means. That when it comes to the I am the one idea, it's to deliver what I deem popular to the world, and no one else can do it other than me. And yes, there's team, but in what you're delivering, no one else can do it. Is you are the one. This is an infinite conversation in the word popular. It's low hanging fruit to fix everything that ails us. And it's got so much mystery behind popular that it's a variable that is actually very clear. Anyhow, this is where it all comes from. And I did a lot of deep soul searching, and then it evolved through working with creative partners when I contacted Oliver and another partner Dan Rush, Oscar Gutierrez, our CEO. We did such deep research, and we partnered. I have to shout out to Art Beats Radio, our independent artist network, who funded us to build the platform.
I want to
And
kind of
that's
like jump in really quickly, because I think there's a little bit more like meat to the story. So many years later, um, Joe, this was about maybe 10 months ago, 11 months ago, actually a year ago, he asked me to be an advisor for Popology, and I really didn't know what that meant, but I said yes. Now, mind you, for the past 28 years prior to last year, he would call me every other month, and we would talk about Popology and what it meant to him and what the vision was. And I would just keep going, absolutely. I had no clue. I didn't understand, but I just kept supporting him in a way that I thought, I grew up with creative people in my career, and so I so supported that, even when I didn't understand it or really couldn't comprehend. Cut to, I'm now an advisor. They asked me to come on board as an executive producer. Soon they made me the COO and the CMO. And we now start talking to people that we want to bring on board to Popology. And everybody, and we have we have a kind of journey. So the important people, brand people who are running big companies, people who just are writers now, we'd have conversations with them, and every person told the story that I just told you. I remember Joe Wynn, and he kept in contact with me. He would not relent. He was, and he had this vision that evolved. And since I come aboard, I'm not patting myself on the back, but I do think that we've kind of found a way as a COO, certainly CMO, to really kind of focus and shape this company into what it is right now. We're building out the platform as we speak. So it's really been a journey of a visionary guy like Joe, which is kind of exciting. And that's what keeps me just fascinated every day and inspired.
Wow, wow, that is truly inspiring. And I'm really interested to share with our viewers about how you use the word science in the definition of popology. That's a powerful word. What are the principles behind the science of popology, and how does its purpose measure what's truly popular in the way that these current platforms work with their algorithms and data monopolies and so forth?
So in short, the easy answer is popular is data, and data is science, right? And scientific method is what you can do over and over again to get the similar results. So that's all over popular. And let's be more specific about the platform. The platform produces the results of your joy, of your curation. and the results of a user or a customer picking the brand they want in their stream curated, the results of that are infinite because you have a very accurate relevance to the audience, and that's never happened before because brands have always chosen who they like, whereas in our situation it's all pre-parked spots, if you will, that are backed by smart contracts that could never be done before. So brand guidelines are completely authenticated, secure, and the brand can like chill back knowing their stuff's going to be their sponsorships are in the right type of content they want to be in. So this means that that's science in the way that this new methodology is choosing to empower the user base. An old methodology that was only reserved for MTV program directors and MTV. We just automated a platform of the science. It's decentralized broadcasting, decentralized television, if you will, powered by you. Oliver, would you like to add to that or no?
No, I think you said everything. I think, look, what's really great about, Popular is that what's great about the internet today is that you really can track everything. What's really not so great about the internet today is that you don't really know
You
who's talking or what the truth is, or, there's all this AI going. What's really great about Popology is that we are a blockchain verifiable, we're a trusted entity. So when you see something on our platform, it's real. And that's really kind of exciting because that's kind of where we're moving today. Marketing, advertising, government, medicine, it all has to be verified. So blockchain is the next thing coming.
And if I can say this to again, the hope here is mass adoption of blockchain through Popology in a way that's not overtly, pounding the tokenization and all these things before the product of the user. The user is what it's about. So the idea here is just to focus on very easy to do curation and very easy to select sponsorship. The rest is just the best data money can buy and let the people own it. And that's the hook here. Held in a 501c3. We don't own it, the community does.
And I want to circle back really quick to what you were saying, Oliver, and then we can jump into helping our audience understand the ecosystem. But I wanted to circle back because you mentioned that Joe used to call you every once in a while and talk to you about the idea of popology. What was it about those conversations that over time convinced you that this was the future? And can you speak to what you saw the attention crisis is that you saw that this platform can solve for?
Yeah, let me answer the first question, which is I think again it goes back to just my education. Being in the production world and advertising, it's one of the few careers that you can do without being, you don't have to have a college degree. You don't even have to like go to school specifically for it. It's production, so you learn as you kind of grow. So I started as a receptionist way back when, and I worked my way up from a PA to a production coordinator to producer, then to running big companies. But what was really interesting is that I always had a creative side to me. So the creativity of marketing and advertising and directing and music videos back in the day really kind of inspired me. That whole creativity. So every time I spoke to Joe, it was always with this like passion that had like this vision to it. He almost spoke in this symphonic way where I kind of like he just like tugged at my heartstrings, and I didn't know what it meant. I came from a background of I was never digitally native, but I worked with a company that had split digitally native. There was a digital side arm to the company, and there was a live action. I ran the live action, and we had to find a way to communicate back in the like the night 2000 and what was it, like 7 or 8, because there was no line of communication, there was no connection. And so that kind of gave me this like foundation of understanding that he was saying something. I just had to listen to it and think about it, and every time he spoke I kind of learned a little bit more about what his vision was. It got a little bit less philosophical, it got a little bit more technical, He started applying words that were kind of in my lexicon, that was in my universe at the time. And I started to like apply those to the thought process. Again, never thinking it would get to this. And that was 20 something years of that conversation. It was crazy.
If I
Wow.
And I
may
don't,
inject a, because I love that, Oliver. You just gave me a really great compliment. I appreciate that. I
yeah.
have to give credit to the word popology and the philosophy of these terms that elevated my consciousness to focus in an artful way that is meat and potatoes. It's not, extraordinarily complicated to understand what popular is to yourself, and where that goes in the measurement of what our input and output and contribution to culture is. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I mean, I think the other thing is like, like Facebook when it first started, the problem they were solving is there were so many kids who felt like they weren't a part of anything, right? And then all of a sudden, you could join Facebook and you can actually be one of the cool kids within your own, kind of domain, right? And I think what's really great about Popology is that it really does allow anyone to become an influencer. You can become an influencer who tells their story about their newborn baby, or your first horse that you got as like a child, or the first painting you ever like, or just the first time you actually understood that you had somebody that loved you. I think that's what's so great about this platform, is that it gives people the ability to, on one platform, to grab all of their social media platforms and search the entire internet and come up with this like authentic, honest kind of portrayal of who they are. And I love that for people.
Perfect segue. I'm excited
It,
to. Oh, go ahead, Joe.
no, that's good. Go ahead.
Awesome. Well, let's dive in so that way our viewers can understand more about how Popology works. I know this is a three-sided network for viewers, creators, and brands. Can you break down how this platform would apply to both creators, viewers with the earning while you watch model, and then also the brands with advertising?
So I'll take it first. The first step is what we call a user assembled meta search engine. And that's the jewel of Popology, is that a creator or someone who wants to be a curator of really just being a tastemaker. Not everybody makes content, but content creators can do it too. But in this case, curators, as powerfully content creators, and content creators who want to curate their own content mixed in with other stuff. The idea here is that you choose ideas. So you have a story you want to tell, how to raise a baby in a constructive way. And then that mom who has great experience can curate content that supports her philosophy and her thinking, but also interstitially put her in as a host. It's the VJ model. This was really cool, and I learned from that. And that is really cool because of this. Stay tuned, because next up is this. That's what this is, engaging your authorship. You're popular. Now, when you ledger videos from YouTube and TikTok and LinkedIn and Twitter and Google and Bing, even cross bias content that says cancer is no cure and here's a cure for cancer, put them up against each other. So this supports the internet as a whole, which is what it was supposed to do, to bring the opposing stories together and bring identifiable value to both sides, good or bad. We don't have a platform that does this. So without dissension and arguments and proof, and so put a stream together that does this. And the best part is, this is where the blockchain is our technical savior here, is that the blockchain's ledgering digital rights across the internet and giving valid tracking, ranking, and measurement to it that nothing else does. YouTube doesn't care about what's on Dailymotion or Vimeo. Vimeo doesn't care what's on TikTok or Google, except their own content. So this puts the user in this desperate problem of disparate platforms that are all machined together in the Popology meta search engine. Searching for whatever you want, cross platform, choose the best videos to your liking. Our platform does infinite curation. You could have 100 video tiles that could go on for like a 20-hour stream. And then after you do that, you save your timeline, you pick your sponsorships. So the sponsorships are already parked in the gallery. We call them the pop commercial gallery.
Let
This
me
is where all of
define that a little bit, because I think, again, sponsorships, in the world of advertising is spots, right? Commercials, right? And brands are very integral to this foundation of Popology. What's great about it is that you, as the creator, choose who you want to align your brand with, you're popular with, right? So in my experience working with brands directly, working with advertising agencies who have many brands within their network, it's important that they understand that there's a little bit of a what is the word? It's like we're flipping the story here, because it's a brand doesn't want to hear that somebody didn't pick me because they didn't like them, because the algorithm actually normally puts, in today's world, it puts, what they think is right for whoever. We don't do that. We allow our popologists to choose those brands. What's great about that is that, let's just say we have a couple of influencers that we're working with right now. There's one called Men with Pots, and I'm going to give them a unabashed great like plug. These guys are
men.
amazing. They're from Men with Pots. They're from Poland. They live in Ireland, and not all they do, they do this genius thing. They cook outdoors, and it's with these big slabs of beef, and it's on like stone, and it's great. So just think about what kind of attraction a brand would have with these guys every time they post it. And they have 14 million followers on TikTok, right? 14 million translates into currency to brands. So they choose a brand, let's say Coleman Stoves, or they choose a clothing line, or they choose like a knife or some kind of whatever they want to do, spice, whatever, many brands, right? And the brand says, oh my God, I love them. And then there's another brand that sees them, sees that they have 14 million views, and says, well, they're not aligned with a boot company. And that brand, it behooves them to be on our platform, so that new potential people that don't even know them gets to see who they are, and that's the conversion that happens within the Popology. So it's a real unique kind of situation that's happening, and I love that kind of opportunity right now.
Phenomenal,
There's a there's
phenomenal.
a there's a there's a buzzword that is kind of interesting, because I heard what Oliver said. It's building trust through trustless automation. Okay, meaning the agencies can be relaxed. I can trust this is going to be in the right content because of the smart contracts holding the muscle. But the trust is the brand, is the person choosing. The brand's trusting that. But the trustless is you can kick back. Anyhow, I just had to use some of those
But no,
words.
I think that's interesting, because they do have to trust it. It's like, when you go out and you buy, this probably happened about 15 years ago. I think the first time I ever saw this is that it was a kid that I knew, and we were doing a Nike commercial, and this kid was like, well, what if I don't like Nike? I want to do the commercial, but what if I don't believe in what they stand for? But I like what Adidas stands for better. This gives this like complete you know authentic
Democracy.
yeah, it was I don't want to say, I don't want to get political, but it does, it really democratizes this in a way that like people literally can
Yeah,
choose what they
yeah,
want. And that's what's
yeah.
happening in America and globally today, and brands love that. So yeah, it's great. Sorry,
We're
got me off track.
patented for it. Put
Yeah,
it
we
that
are
way.
batting
We're
for it.
patented. 29 system and method claims. We're also internationally registered for the same patent expansions. I mean, so we thought of this, like as Oliver said, a
Well, yeah,
long
he's
time.
only thought of it for like 30 years, so I don't know, maybe he got some things right.
I mean, the only thing I get credit for is not giving up.
Yeah, well, that's a big thing. That is life. It's like,
That's true.
and I can tell you that we both have fallen so many times. I mean, I have many bruises and many scratches, and I'm not even humiliated any longer when I fall. I think it's the journey of like getting up and just going like, uh-oh, okay,
Yeah,
well, now what?
yeah,
So
yeah.
but we are on we haven't fallen in a while, knock on wood.
That's
We're
wonderful.
not
And I'm
falling. We're
excited
flying.
to break into how our viewers, maybe they're not content creators, maybe they're not brands, but they're viewers. How does the promise of earning while you watch work in practice?
Okay, I'll just take it to short that we're powering from the influencer side. You follow who you love, right? So if it's a Matthew McConaughey, we hope, hey Madonna, this is a call out for you. Leanne Rhymes, I need you. I did her video, I need you. So we need you, girl. This is about your fan base being held in one place as the influencer or the marquee talent. Then the audience that likes that talent get to watch, and they're going to watch with riveted curation, like, whoa, she likes that. Oh, that's a good point of view, and these are the brands she likes. Okay, maybe I'll get myself a Coleman stove, whatever. This heightened experience for the viewer is they're earning while they watch. Back in the day, we had MTV on in the office all the time. If I got paid while that MTV was on back then, I would be a lot more wealthy now.
Tell them
So
about that
the
journey. Tell them about the journey of how, like, when a viewer comes in and they watch. Tell them about that. So
yes,
they click.
gotcha. So a viewer, actually a curator, can post their popcast on Facebook or Reddit or anything. Anyone who likes it can watch it, click on it, and then they watch the entire stream. And during the end of the stream, there's a code that pops up that says you've earned 40 pops. Go sign up to Popology to become a curator yourself. And that's the am I is that what you wanted me to target on, Oliver?
Absolutely, I think that's a really good. I mean, and also during that process, you go from a viewer once you've viewed something, and then you get to the end of it. You have to watch the full, the full spot, and then all of a sudden it says you've earned 40 pops. Go to and log in to Popology. Once you log in and you go through that journey, you become a popologist.
Yeah, and can curate yourself and watch again and earn.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a circle economy in the fullest sense of what that is. And it really just empowers all levels, all stakeholders become equilateral to each other, none greater than the other, including the curator, including the brand, and including the viewer. And that's the way it should always be, because we always switch up on all those anyhow, right?
Yeah.
I'm sometimes a friend, I'm sometimes a viewer, and I'm sometimes the bomb, the popologist.
Let's let's dive more into the money side of the business with Popology Coin. I know that's central to the ecosystem. How do the tokenomics work to create a fair and transparent value exchange? What is the 50% revenue split? I know it's 25% to creators, 25% to viewers. And what does that mean for the creator economy?
Yeah, so overall, the tokenomics is that it's a community held asset. So, the team itself, we only hold a small part of it, which is what the tokenomics should be. But this is majority to run the platform. It fuels the system operations and transactions within the system. So when a sponsor, like say Nike wants to place and park their spot for 2 million eyes, and they pay say $10,000. That was sort of a metric of a $5 per thousand eyes CPM, cost per milli. That's kind of standard in the broadcast network. Even what is it? TikTok charges $5 per CPM in their regular cost. Well, these are underwriters. These are sponsors, totally different, but it's still the same CPM. So one token equals 1,000 eyes. So a brand says, we want 2 million eyes, or we want 100 billion eyes if you're an agency and you buy for all your brands. But let's just stick with one brand. So for that $10,000, 5,000 of it goes into a token pool that goes to the curator and the audience. So half the revenue is going to the people. And that's how that
Wow.
works. So it's converted into a token pool, and that's just the ad revenue. Then there's what we call it, the sponsorship revenue. It's not ad revenue, it's underwriting sponsorship revenue. Because the concept is all the content, all the data is held in a public trust ledger that is held by a 501c3. So this means the sponsorships are underwriters. You with me?
Yes,
Right?
absolutely.
They're underwriters. It's like public access television. Same model, except automated. So through this automation of underwriters, they're paying out token, not cash. They're paying out tokens. The tokens convert to cash, but that's a separate audit. So the pops turn into the audience, and then the data that's collected, the curator, the popologist gets 50% of the ad revenue. I'm sorry, of the data revenue that's sold to the brands of which they are okay with, because they're involved in that public trust ledger, by consensus, working together on the value of their data. For what we're really doing in the whole system is aggregating the true measure of popular that belongs to the people. See, Google and Facebook, as much as I love those platforms and entities, they're not giving us the true measure of popular because it's either too valuable or it empowers us too much. But we're being told a lot of information that's maybe not conducive to feeling as strengthful in the industry as we can be. So this public trust ledger will do that.
Truly
There's a lot there.
fascinating.
Is it too much information?
No, there's a lot there. I want to
I'm not a
No, this is phenomenal. Thank you so much for breaking it down. And I want to understand more about the technology. You mentioned earlier that the technology is almost the savior here. Can you explain, and you kind of touched on the meta search engine, but can you explain more on the roles of the pop sphere, the POPcast, and the pop stream, and how this creates that decentralized broadcasting experience?
I think you just said it right there.
Oh,
I know.
perfect. Awesome.
No, you just rolled that out beautifully. So the meta search engine, the pop sphere, is so you can get the best content, no bias, and earn your data from all those platforms, because you got to bring them in to the search engine to do that. So now you've got data collecting. Now you got the best video. It's incredible how there's no overlap of these video assets for the same cute cat. Phenomenal. Because all of these other, here's a real interesting thing. All of the algorithms from each of these platforms, we're blending it all together, because that means, okay, let these algorithms actually work for you in the content and context. So it really helps with the non-overlap of content. With that said, then once you curate from within this incredible gallery of video assets in the round sphere, you curate. There's your POPcast. Save a name. Now you go to the POPmercial. The POPmercial is the sponsorship opportunity, so it gets out to lots and millions of eyes. After the POPmercials are included, now you've got a POPcast peer stream that is fueling a brand new type of decentralized network, like a MTV off the shiza, but it belongs to the people. What else are we missing here?
We covered the
I think
pop
that's it.
podcast and pure stream. Perfect.
And the POPmercial on top of that.
And the POPmercial, that's right. I want to understand more. I know you both have incredible professional backgrounds. Joe, you've worked with some of the most iconic directors in history. You've learned a lot about the technical skill and storytelling. And Oliver, your career is very impressive also, working with David Fincher and for 2 award-winning Emmys, other companies like Apple, Google, just an incredible, incredible background. I want to know more how you two have come together to blend the heart of the creative and advertising worlds. How do your skills complement each other in coming together with Popology and shaping this platform?
Let me take this one, Joe, because I think it begs a little bit of a kind of a trip to our past. But in the world of production, if you will, whether it's TV or it's movies or it's advertising or it's making commercials or Super Bowl ads, there's a hierarchy that happens. There's the client, it's Frito-Lay, and they, their report, the agency who defines, what the commercial is and the campaign is, and they report to their client. They then choose a production company that has a director. They come to me and I give them that director. And now my responsibility is to make sure that everything that they sold to their client through my director is all, fits within a budget and fits within the parameters of what they need and what they sold to their client. So in order to do that, there's a fascinating kind of unspoken rule, and that is that one person in production keeps all of the information. That's usually the producer. That's who I am, right? And so, and you work directly with the creative entity, who the visionary is, who's taken this campaign that they've sold to their client and has a vision. That's Joe. And that synergy and that relationship allows me to be as financially astute, creatively aware, flexible and pivot, malleable, and also deal with the agency in terms of what he wants and what they want. And then for the director to be able to completely let everything go and understand that he has a vision to now put on film. And that relationship allows for us to talk about every day. I don't know how many times I talk to Joe. It's a lot, but we talk and it's nonstop, but it's about every aspect. It's like, what are those little squares, Joe? What do you really think about that? Is that really a movement? Do we really need them? Oliver, what is the functionality of it? What is the user journey? It's really allows us to kind of banter back and forth and pick apart every aspect of what this user journey and this platform could be. And I think that's how we kind of work really well together.
Phenomenal.
I concur. I concur, Addie, and I'll follow up with a succinct. That's exactly what I was thinking, Oliver, by the way, that I saw the first to really bring this to the platform. Most platforms are introduced by the entrepreneurial, technological, coder or a genius that way. And great and good for them. And we have that. We've got one of the best. Mikola is our incredible CTO, and he is such a genius. Before we got to him, I knew that this is a content-driven project that is going to benefit out of the director-producer relationship. That is what I am most excellent working within. Different than a corporatized, and in the agency world, there's that level. But the director producer, the hands-onness of a producer, and the hands-on of the director, the way that we work, and the hierarchy that we're familiar with. You say you're going to have something on set tomorrow, it better be there, or you're a loser. And we don't deal with losers. You don't win Emmys with that mentality. That you bull through blocks and no's and can'ts and don'ts. And that's what Oliver's excellent at, and that's what I'm excellent at. I was trained halfway by him as well, doing, Spice Girls and working with these very tyrannical conditions, if you will. That's code word.
Yeah,
what I mean by
I
that.
do think it's interesting in my psychological ability to deconstruct Joe's mind so that I really understand it every day, and it really truly is a daily process. He has lived with this for so long, and he has this vision that he's so tightly wound about how he got, the Pied Piper, got a lot of people to follow him over the past 28 years, and he's told this story, right? And that is really what we do every day, is deconstruct everything in his past and every vision, every aspect of what he wants, and make sure that as we're deconstructing it and reconstructing it for the user, so that it's an incredible user journey and an incredible experience, that the brands really feel like they are part of an ecosystem that really is a movement. That's exciting and exhilarating, and it's one step, one point at a time. And I think that's how we kind of work really well together.
Can I offer one more point? That if in Oliver and I and our team, to really to know this is successful, and one of the major product lines, if you will, is the popologist. See, the user is the popologist, and that's we'll call it the living NFT. That your data, your curation, your choice in brands, It's all there, right? So to be rewarded for all of this as your taste making and choice making, that's the up leveling of society. And that's the most important product, if you will, engineering the person, and so not these disparate puzzle pieces that are acting different on Facebook and Instagram and Vimeo, and everything has its own different culture. What happens when you bring all of these science elements like the periodic table together? Combustible media. And so the real opportunity is, we want this to be the brand's idea. We want this to be the support of the brands, that is their collaboration together to up level the internet and get what they need out of it, but that the people get more out of it. And this does exist. This is a real palatable reality, even in the conference rooms, behind tables in conference rooms, and great agencies like VML and Vayner. They talk about this all the time. But we have the technology. Gary Vee said something very important. He said, in another 2, 3 years, you're not going to know what is real and what is fake based on these deep fakes and AI and all this. Well, guess what? Our platform is already a jump on ledgering real assets to the blockchain by the people. And that is what, if you find that P asset, we'll pop it in this, because he spoke on it and he said, I don't know what the technology will be. It's us.
Yeah,
And,
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 and, and
and
I don't think it's going to happen in 2 or 3 years. I think it's happening right now. You know what I mean? It's
oh,
It's
there you
about
go.
happening
it's up it's
now.
up it.
That's
Yeah, it
right.
is. Yes,
It
yes.
Yeah.
is.
In fact, this isn't really me.
Well, we don't know, right?
I can I can tell you
That's
it's
your
really
AI.
him.
Oh, it's me. There's only
Well,
one of
let's
Joe Ray. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Thank God.
I'm certainly feeling inspired. This is very exciting. And let's start to talk about how viewers can get involved. I know you have the token sale coming up soon. You have early access to brand activation titles and influencer web mall shops. What kind of partners are you looking for in building this new ecosystem, and what's the number one thing that our viewers can do right now to get involved and join the Popology movement?
Good.
Let me start with the number one thing that our viewers can do right now. We're building as we speak. Literally, I know that old phenomenal saying. Everybody's like, "Oh, we're building the plane as we fly it." Truly, we are. It's happening, 24/7 or all around the globe with various teams. But we do have a website. It's popologynetworks.com. Go to our network and sign in to any wait list. If you want a demo, we're happy to do that. If you want us to come out as an agency or a brand, if you're interested in this, give us a shout out on popologynetworks.com, and we'll come, and Joe and I will personally come to your agency and give you guys a 30 to 45 minute kind of pitch on who we are. I do want to say something before Joe jumps in, because I do think that he has a lot to say about who we're looking for as partners. I want to talk about just the platform itself and how we are supported by an enormous amount of smart people. I mean, our team is very small. I think it's maybe 9 people doing a startup, and it's absolutely every day. We are all kind of in awe of each other. The people that you would see you can see it on our website. You can see who our teams are. You would never think that these people would ever, in a million years, ever walk on the same street at the same time, much less work together and build a platform like Popology. So a shout out to our team, from the CTOs to Kelsey to Eric, who's everybody, Lou and Oscar. It's just really, we do this, and we do it all together in a way that I think that only a startup allows you to do, if you embrace that. Go back to when you first got your first job and you were eager and you wanted people to pick you. So we all raise our hands every day for every aspect of every question that we need.
And we're also backed by an independent artist network, like our sister company, R Beats Radio,
Yep.
rbeats.com, lowercase r beatz.com. And they're an artist network to support the independent artists to get a leg up and to have a voice and to express themselves. And my friend Wendy and her husband Michael Kahn believe in us, and they've been here for us, and that's huge for us. Huge.
Okay,
and
so you're going to talk to
Michael.
them about the who we want as
Yeah.
yeah.
So ad agencies are perfect to partner with us because they have a host of brands already on board that will, that makes the simplest partnership because this benefits them and they can create curation podcasts for their very brands that are dedicated to Pizza Hut and dedicated to Krispy Kreme donuts or vitamin companies and physical wellness, brands. Brands can be the influencer just like the influencer can be the curator as well. So to answer, I have my host of favorite brands, everything from Tasty Cake to exercise companies and Columbia Sportswear and Nike, and I have a preference for Adidas as well. And it's funny because I love Nike because it was in Back to the Future, but I like Adidas for the fit, right? So there's all kinds of we love brands. Harley Davidson is a cult brand, and Harley Davidson is like, I would curate that, but I don't drive a motorcycle even though it looks like I should.
You don't. So
Anyhow,
get to like crypto sale and all of
so we're doing an early token sale right now. We're releasing that, and get in on that now because when it goes public, it's going to be hot. And so when the brands support the purchase of views, that token is already like a race car that has brands slapped on it, and we've got 5 brands already. Okay, so what crypto token has name brands all over it that supports the process of views? Zero.
well, one now, Popology.
One
Well,
now.
us, yes,
That's
yes,
right. One
one
now.
now. And again,
Awesome.
that's why we want it to be the brands and the people come together seamlessly through curation and sponsorship. Again, we do one thing really well. It's curate great streams and have the brands get a lot out of it for their direct audience retention.
I
That's
thought we were
that's
not going to
that's
have enough to say, and I thought we were going to not have enough to say in 51 minutes, but oops.
This is absolutely inspiring. So fascinating to hear about your backgrounds and the revolutionary work of Popology. I want to thank you so much, Joe and Oliver, for your time today. Thank you for sharing an incredible and inspiring story. We'll definitely be watching the journey. And for our viewers, for the audience, please make sure to visit Popology Networks to join the waitlist and learn more. Thank you, gentlemen. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Be
Can I real
well.
quick do a shout out to some really people that are watching, like Boys to Men, Wanye, Sean? Get on Popology. Listen to this podcast, and Mary J, Buster Rhymes. You remember me from Give Me Some Mo. From really, these are great artists that are the alma mater of Popology. Okay, that's a
Absolutely.
big story here. Steven Tyler, he saw it already. He's like, I love this, Joe Ray. Let me know. So we're letting him know. Anyhow,
Absolutely.
We're letting
Thank
them
you,
know.
Addie. This is great.
Thank you so much, Joe. Thank you, Oliver.
Thank
thank you.
you.